Hello, welcome to Rocky Biochem series. In this video, I will take you through the innate immune system. Please, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, kindly do so for me and tap on the notification bell so that you'll be notified of my upcoming videos. Thank you very much. So the immune system of humans is divided into two main parts. We have the innate immune system and then the adaptive immune system. For the purpose of this video, I will focus on the innate immune system. So the innate immune system consists of certain cells and then substances that provide a rapid first line of response or first line of defense against bacteria, fungi, viruses, and then other parasites. The term innate refers to the fact that these defensive mechanisms are already present and are ready to function, provided an infection tries to occur. So let me take you through the components of innate immune system. The innate immune system has certain cells or certain components that come together to play the defensive role. So the first component here is the physical barriers. We have the biomolecules, complement system, the innate immune cells, some special innate immune cells, and then we have the inflammation or inflammatory responses. I am going to pick them one by one. Let me start with the physical barriers. So the primary physical barrier or the common physical barrier is the skin. The skin provides the first line of defense for a living organism, and the protection of the body against microbes is non-specific. That is, the skin doesn't have the ability to distinguish between invasive and then non-invasive pathogens. It just blocks all of them. It prevents the entry of both pathogenic and then non-pathogenic microorganisms. So that is why in situations whereby when the skin becomes injured by a wound, such an individual becomes predisposed to be infected by microorganisms. And besides, the skin also has the sebaceous gland embedded in it, and then the sebaceous gland produces fatty acids and then lactic acid. So these acids reduces the pH into acidic media, that is 4 to 6, and it helps in protecting the body from microorganisms. So other physical barriers that we can discuss include the mucus, or like the mucus found in the nose. So the mucus found in the nose, or like the mucus secreted by the goblet cells in the mucosal membranes, has the ability to trap dust particles that might potentially contain microorganisms. So by so doing, it prevents the microorganisms from entering the body. And aside that, the ear produces earwax, and the earwax in the ears has the ability to trap dust particles and then other dirt that might possibly contain microorganisms. Also, the eyes produces tears, and the tears contains lysozymes called muramidase. So the lysozyme called muramidase also has the ability to kill any microorganism that will try to invade the body through the eyes. So when the microorganism succeeds in crossing the aforementioned physical barriers and then lands in the stomach, the acidic secretions, that is the HCl in the stomach, will then kill those microorganisms that land in the stomach. And also, if the microorganism succeeds in crossing or invading the respiratory tract, the cilia found in the airways will sweep out the microorganisms, and then after sweeping them out, the microorganisms will be swallowed, and as they land in the stomach, the acidic secretions in the stomach will then kill them. Now, aside the physical barriers that I have mentioned to be part or to be components of the innate immune system, we also have a wide range of biomolecules that play an important role in protecting the body. So for instance, we have small antimicrobial peptides called defensins. Defensins are small antimicrobial peptides that has the ability to kill microorganisms. So one central part of innate immune response is inflammation. So inflammation creates a hostile environment that interferes with the survival of the pathogen at the site of infection. So what happens is that the inflammatory response will trigger the release of the phagocytes into the site of infection, and as they get there, they begin to engulf the pathogens at the site of infection, and also plasma will begin to accumulate at the site of infection, and then the accumulation of plasma brings about dilution of the toxins produced by the pathogens, and blood flow will also increase at the site of infection. So the increased blood flow at the site of infection is what brings about swelling and then reddening of the infection site, as we can see here. Now, aside inflammation, we have some additional classes of proteins that participate in innate immune response, and one of them is the complement system. So the complement system consists of plasma proteins that assist or complement several other defensive mechanisms. So some complement proteins puncture the bacteria plasma membrane and then bursting the bacteria cells. So other complement proteins also dismantle the viruses or trigger the release of histamine from the mast cells. So the histamine release from the mast cells will dilate the blood vessels and then increase blood flow to the site of infection. And other complement proteins will also attract phagocytes to the site of injury for them to engulf the pathogens at that particular site. So activation of the complement system occurs in a cascade manner. So let's say complement protein number 6 will activate complement protein number 7 through a proteolytic mechanisms. So it will cleave off some fragments from, let's say, complement protein number 7, and that will activate it. It works like a trypsin. So it will be cleaving the other complement proteins in a cascade manner, and through that they will be activated and then they will begin to attack the invading bacteria. I will delve deep into complement system in my subsequent videos, so stay tuned on that. And also we have other proteins like collectins. Collectins have the ability to broadly protect the body against bacteria, yeast, and then some other viruses. One thing I like about collectins is that they have the ability to detect even a slight difference in the surface, surface proteins or surface biomolecules of the virus or of the pathogens as compared to that of the cells. So let's say the surface proteins or like the surface biomolecules of the invading pathogen is similar to that of the host, that of the normal cells. Collectins will be able to distinguish between the two, no matter how closeness the surface proteins or surface biomolecules are. Collectins will be able to detect the difference and then trigger the release of phagocytes for them to attack those pathogens at the invading sites. Aside collectins, we have cytokines. Cytokines play a role in both innate immune system and then adaptive immune system. Cytokines play an important role in protecting the body against invading pathogens. So cytokines are just proteins secreted by one cell that has the ability to either increase or decrease the function or the activities of the target cell. So as we can see here, the cytokine producing cell will release cytokines and it will be received by the receptors on the surface of the target cell, and through that it will produce its biological effects. So normally when, let's say, macrophages secrete cytokines, some other immune cells can receive the signals for them to increase their activity in fighting the invading pathogens. So we have different types of cytokines. We have the interferons, we have the interleukins, we have the tumor necrosis factors, and other cytokines. So interleukins, for instance, we have the interleukin alpha, beta, we have the interferon alpha, beta, gamma, and then etc. So what the interferons do is that they are released in response to viral infections. Interferons are released in response to viral infection, and upon their release, they will signal other cells about the presence of the viruses in the body, and those virally infected cells will be destroyed, and through that, viral infection spread, that is the spread of viral infections, will be controlled in the body. And aside that, interleukins too has an important role to play, or like they are important cytokines that play role in protecting the body from infections. So what interleukins do is that they cause fever, and fever has to do with temporarily raising the temperature of the body, temporarily raising the temperature of the body. So the temporarily raised temperature will bring about killing of the invading pathogens like the bacteria and the fungi, and then etc. And also, the temporarily raised temperature will bring about decrease in microbial growth, that is decrease in growth of the viruses, or decrease in growth of the fungi or the bacteria. This is because the growth of bacteria and then fungi requires ions. They require iron, that is iron, Fe, iron as a mineral. They require that for their growth. But increased temperature brings about decrease in the amount of ions in the system. So by so doing, the microorganisms will be deprived of ions, and then their growth will be inhibited. We also have tumor necrosis factors that have the ability to release or activate other protective biochemicals that either destroys bacteria or has the ability to even kill cancer cells. So we also have some special immune cells like the monocytes, the macrophages. We have the mast cells, dendritic cells, eosinophils, and then basophils. All these cells too have an important role to play in killing invading microorganisms. So eosinophils and basophils, for instance, can kill parasites that lands in the body, and neutrophils, macrophages, they also can engulf those invading bacteria, and natural killer cells too can kill viruses that invade the body. Let me say something small about dendritic cells. So for dendritic cells, they play a role in adaptive immune system and then innate immune system as well. So in the innate immune system, they have the ability to engulf invading they have the ability to engulf invading microorganisms at the peripheral sites. But in the adaptive immune system, dendritic cells play a role in antigen presentation. So what these immune cells in general, what they do is that they attack the invading pathogen and kill them, hence protecting the body from infection. So let me end by talking about some features of innate immune response, some general features of innate immune response. So innate immune response is fast. Innate immune response can occur within 4 hours. So when the pathogen invades the body, the response can be mounted within 4 hours, as compared to the adaptive immune system, which can take about 4 days or so. And also, this kind of immune response is non-specific. It is not like they are going to be mounted for a specific species of microorganism. It is general response. So as I made mention of the skin as a physical barrier, for instance, the skin can block the entry of all microorganisms, irrespective of it being non-invasive or invasive. And there is no immunological memory. It doesn't keep immunological memory. That is, it doesn't keep memory of species or like group of microorganisms that have invaded the body before, unlike adaptive immune response, which has immunological memory. And there is also pattern recognition. That is, those immune cells has the ability to sense the invading pathogen and then kill them by sensing some patterns on the surface of them. So we have the pattern recognition receptors, and then we have those toll-like receptors. I'll talk about all these things in my subsequent videos. And also there is barrier defense in innate immune response. That is, the skin, for instance, serves as a barrier, and then it blocks the entry of all microorganisms. Thank you very much for watching this video.